Tesla taking a hit today after its lackluster third quarter earnings report. One of the key points investors walked away with was warnings around the highly anticipated Cybertruck. CEO Elon Musk saying on the call that Tesla dug its own grave with the Cybertruck. He also called it a special product and said products like it are, quote, incredibly difficult to bring to market, to reach volume, and to be prosperous. Our next guest doesn't seem too worried about the Cybertruck, but he would like Tesla to consider pivoting to becoming a tier one supplier. Let's bring in Tom Narayan, who is the RBC Capital Markets lead equity analyst in global autos. Tom, broad strokes first and foremost here. I want to get your takeaway from what you heard on the call and what Tesla had to report in this most recent quarter.
Yeah, I wasn't actually that surprised, honestly, by the gross margin print. I mean, they took some production intentional shortfalls this past quarter for upgrades. Musk definitely had some commentary on 2024 that kind of spooked investors. Cybertruck comments you pointed out, Mexico facility, which means we won't have these millions and millions of Model 2s out there. But I think ultimately we're all missing the greater point here, which is I think Tesla is slowly trying to pivot away from being a huge volume car maker and into becoming a tier one supplier to other OEMs. We've seen what they've done with charging infrastructure. They're making so many batteries subsidized by the US government. They do power electronics, the biggest maker of these. I think they sell these things to OEMs and then ultimately get really what they want, which is licensing and selling FSD, which is really the profit center and gets them to the next step, which is robotaxi. So it's part of the roadmap that begins with cars as a proof of concept and migrates to becoming a tier one supplier and then eventually a robotaxi maker.
So, Tom, if investors aren't appreciating that from your point of view, I guess, what does that then tell us about valuation or how Tesla then should be valued given this pivot that you see Tesla undergoing right now?
Yeah, I think it's, a really good comparison I look at is, I don't know if you guys remember Netflix in like 2011 to 2013 went through a weird transition of renting DVDs to streaming. And it was a problematic transition. It wasn't communicated well and the stock suffered. Here, I think what's happening is Tesla is trying to make this transition very gradual and communicate to investors gradually what they're trying to do without just yanking the blanket off the rug. So I think now what's happening is on valuation, people will see all they have to do is cut some pricing on FSD. That will show margins increasing. People will actually see how amazing that product is. And they'll pivot in how they value the company. Instead of looking at it as a car company, they'll start looking at it as a software company, assign a higher multiple. And once you start seeing them winning licensing deals with FSD, I expect folks to start looking at this as trading at a 10 times revenue multiple on forward sales as opposed to earnings or EBIT or whatever people are caring about right now during these earnings calls.
But there's a lot that has to go right in order for robotaxis to be and to hit critical mass and to be an everyday option for a lot of riders out there at that point, or potentially even other companies who they would be licensing or selling into. What does Tesla need to get right along that roadway?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. This is no easy path. The way I look at this topic is top down. I believe in robotaxis. They are the future. They will transform society for the better. Regulators want it. So I believe it will happen. And I also believe it'll expand the pie for autos tremendously. It'll take share from other forms of transportation. It's a bedroom on wheels. It's a living room on wheels. It'll just make autos so much bigger. So then I just
but from how you're valuing it.
Yep.
But from how you're valuing it, Tom, what time span do they need to complete that by?
No, I'm valuing it by 2040, and then I'm discounting it back. So this is definitely far out. Cities have to be re-engineered for this to work. No doubt about it. This is not something that has to happen overnight. I think it's a proof of concept model. First, show FSD. That gives people faith that they have the best technology. You'll also see regulatory environment get in there. I think regulators will mandate FSD type products. They save a lot of lives. FSD is 5 times safer than regular cars. And then that'll give them more credit to run with. And then, yeah, by 2030, 2035, you'll see way more of these robotaxis on the road. People get more comfortable. So it's a slow bleed. It's not going to happen overnight for sure.
Tom, I know you're not focusing a lot on the Cybertruck here, but I got to ask you because the street is focusing on some of the comments that we heard from Musk just in terms of how challenging this product has been to produce and what that runway looks like going forward, or how long it's going to take until we do see the Cybertruck be profitable here for Tesla. What does this tell us just about how challenging bringing a vehicle like this to market is, and what you think that opportunity realistically looks like for Tesla?
Yeah, and I do want to just make a note about the conference call itself. I mean, I've listened to several of these conference calls, and sometimes it depends on Elon's mood. And you have to kind of keep everything with a pinch of salt when he's talking about stuff. So I think what he was getting at is how technologically sophisticated Cybertruck is. His goal is to make it affordable for regular folks. If you look at the pickup truck market in the US, the EV pickup truck, they're super expensive. So it's going to be challenging to make this thing profitable, given how technologically advanced it is. I don't think people should come away with this as going to be a boondoggle or anything like that. This will ultimately be profitable. But at the same time, this was never meant to be a very important product for this company. Ultimately, this company, it's all about FSD, all about autonomy, all about robotaxi. Don't get caught up in the noise. It's a great product that they have to highlight their technological advantages, but I don't think it's something that derails a story.
All right, Tom Narayan, always great to get your perspective. Again, Tesla shares under quite a bit of pressure here ahead of the open, off just about 6.5%. Tom Narayan, thanks so much for joining us.